Tonight on KVR News, we take a look at an African-American theater company's award-winning show.
And what early voting will look like on campus.
You're watching KVR News, your leader for live local UT coverage.
Broadcasting live from the Texas Student Television Studios at the University of Texas. You're watching KVR News at 9, Austin's leader for live local UT coverage. Your news starts right now.
Good evening and welcome back to KVR News for Monday, October 24th. I'm Jina Chung.
And I'm Brianna Rodriguez. Thank you for joining us.
Rallies against the construction of the North Dakota Access Pipeline resulted in 83 arrests and multiple roadblocks. Approximately 300 people trespassed onto private property. Protesters say that the pipeline will hurt the environment and ruin the land's historical Native American value. The protesters handcuffed themselves to construction equipment, hoping this would seize the pipeline's production.
Law enforcement then began to arrest protesters, some officers using pepper spray. Police also shot down a drone flying next to a helicopter monitoring the protest. The sheriff's office said the drones were not being operated within federal regulations. Confrontation between officers and protesters lasted about 5 hours. Celebrities such as Divergent actress Shailene Woodley were also arrested during a protest earlier this month.
The Human Rights Campaign awarded Austin the highest rating in Texas for its support of equality and the LGBTQ community. The criteria include non-discrimination laws, protection for LGBT employees, and civic inclusion. Austin improved from previous years by earning an extra 12 points for providing services to the elderly LGBT community and people living with HIV and AIDS. Dallas and Fort Worth also earned 100 points. Laredo, College Station, and Irving scored the lowest with 6 points each.
A local African-American theater company is presenting their award-winning play this week in downtown Austin. Our Sierra Juarez went to find out more about the performers and the Cast Theater Company.
Spectrum Theater Company is an African-American theater group in Austin. The group works to perform shows that speak to African-American experiences and history.
I think the perfect example of Spectrum would be family, family and community. Every member, especially the founders, I feel like they take pride in their experience and having a passion to give that experience back.
The founders created Spectrum with the idea of showing and performing the nuances of Black culture.
Theater makes a community better, and it brings a solidifying that peace that we can all come together and experience it in our own way. Because as universal as this story is, every person probably walked out of here tonight with a different interpretation of what it meant to them and what they'd gone through.
Currently, the Spectrum Theater is presenting Once on This Island, a musical at the Boyd Vance Theater. The play is based off the novel My Love by Rosa Guy and tells the story of a young romance. Spectrum Theater has a diverse cast, with the youngest performer being 11.
It's a way of expressing myself through the arts, because I love arts like dancing, acting, singing.
Spectrum also conducts weekly acting classes with the purpose of bringing the community together with performance. Many of the actors and actresses began with the Spectrum's founding in 2013. Tickets to the performance can be purchased at the door, and the play will be shown until October 30th. Sierra Juarez, KVR News.
Austin is now requiring all newly constructed homes to install smart thermostats. These thermostats will have the ability to connect to the internet either through cable or Wi-Fi. So far, approximately 50,000 people use a smart thermostat in Austin. Energy experts say smart thermostats allow customers to have greater control of their utilities and use efficient energy in the most efficient way possible.
Early voting started today and will continue on to November 4th. All registered Texas voters are eligible to vote early. To vote, one will need to bring an accepted form of identification. An example of an acceptable ID would be a Texas driver's license or a U.S. passport. The nearest polling locations are available online at the Travis County Clerk website. For UT students, the closest voting location is at the FAC on campus. It will be open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Saturday, and from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. on Sunday.
Well, Brianna, even though early voting just started, the line at the FAC was already a mile long.
I know. I walked past the line today and it was wrapped around the building. But even though official election day is only 15 days away, there have been some new political updates. Our political reporter, Ashley Tsao, will join us at the desk after the break.
watching KVR News at 9. Your campus, your news.
Texas Judge Lauren Parrish announced she will leave the Republican Party and now identify as a Democrat. Parrish said, quote, "The current Republican Party has abandoned all the principles instilled in me by my parents, church, and community." Parrish's switch to the Democratic Party comes 1 week after Texas Justice Terry Jennings also left the Republican Party.
Ashley, these events come during a time when Texas Democrats are hoping the state will turn blue.
Definitely, Gina. You know, key Texas Republican figures like former Governor Rick Perry said that there was no way Texas was going to turn blue, but the Texas polls show Clinton and Trump in a dead heat.
Since we're only 15 days away from Super Tuesday, what's been happening in the political world?
Well, Senator Elizabeth Warren fired back at Donald Trump by saying "nasty woman vote" while campaigning for Hillary Clinton this morning. Her comments were, of course, a reference to when Trump called Clinton such a nasty woman during the third presidential debate. And in the last month before the election, Clinton campaigned with a number of powerful political figures. Most recently, Michelle Obama announced she will campaign together with Clinton for the first time this Thursday in North Carolina. And Donald Trump's plan to build a wall in between the U.S. and Mexico has lost popularity in Arizona. A majority of people there say Trump's wall would be a waste of money. Most Arizonans also believe it is not realistic for Mexico to pay for the wall, something Trump has vowed would happen. And these results actually mirror nationwide opinions of Trump's immigration policy, with 49% saying that a wall would be a waste of money and 31% saying it would be an effective barrier.
Thanks, Ashley. We'll be sure to keep an eye on any developments over the week. We'll be more with more news after the break.
Coming up next, students respond to changes in class registration,
UT hosts Real Beauty Week,
and the Center for Students in Recovery honors those lost to drug abuse in a unique way.
Stay tuned for more KVR News.
You're watching KVR News at 9. Your campus, your news.
Student government passed a resolution in support of adding a past syllabi tab to UT's registration website. Currently, past syllabi for many classes are available but are difficult to access. This feature will not be available for registration this semester. However, student government is currently speaking with the Office of the Registrar and hopes to release the tab feature as soon as possible. We went out to see how students feel about this resolution.
I think that would be really helpful to see how, like, their grade distribution, how many exams, and what kind of assignments they have. More so helpful than just seeing reviews on the professor, because everyone does school differently. So it would just be good to see their layout of the class rather than hearing about it in another student's perspective.
I haven't had any challenges with it. The only thing is that it takes a while for them to add it, so sometimes it's not that helpful. But I don't know if they could do anything to fix that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that sounds like a great feature. I don't know how likely I'm going to be to use it, just because I'm only registering one more time, and I've already decided for the most part what classes I'm going to be taking, and already kind of did that research. So I think if I had known that before, then I would probably use it.
Student government hosted its first ever story night last Thursday. A group of 8 students shared their story about a central theme: race relations. Each story night will feature different students speaking about current issues. President Kevin Helgren and Vice President Bina Kim initially used the Share Your Story slogan as part of their campaign. However, they hope Story Night acts as a way to create dialogue about diversity and inclusivity on campus.
We had no intentions of it just being something to solicit votes. We wanted to really be the culture of our whole administration. And that culture is not just student leaders telling students what to do, but really engaging the students in the conversation throughout the year and having all of our efforts be really catered to the students' needs.
It's about starting those conversations that aren't really talked about on this campus, those kind of taboo subjects such as race, and really making that kind of in the forefront, right? And that's, again, something that really hasn't been done, especially from organizations like student government.
The campaign hosted Take Care Night Friday, an event where students were able to learn a few fighting tactics and gain some self-empowerment. Instructors from Fit and Fearless, a professional martial arts training center in Austin, taught a free self-defense class. There were also tables featuring the UT Counseling and Mental Health Center and Beauty Counter Products, a natural makeup line. The goal of the Real Beauty campaign was to break the barriers that restrict self-confidence.
Real Beauty is a campaign that's sort of focusing on like inner beauty and self-love amongst men and women on the UT campus. So it's just trying to expand the definition of what beauty is beyond what we see in typical like day-to-day media.
The African Student Organization hosted its annual Fest Africa event. There, Black and African students showcased a variety of talents, including poetry, dance, and music. This year's theme focused on connecting with one's cultural roots as well as addressing current issues that face the Black community.
It's very important because some of the people here, it seems that they lose their roots, and it's really good to get back to your roots and see where your culture is from. It's preservation of your culture, because without you, then what is your culture?
For students in recovery is celebrating the Day of the Dead by establishing an ofrenda, a tradition primarily seen in Mexican culture. The center erected the ofrenda to honor those lost to alcohol or drug addiction. About 570,000 people die from drug use a year, with alcohol a close second at 88,000 deaths per year. The hope is that the ofrenda raises awareness for students and allows a safe space to mourn those lost. Student ambassador for the program, Garrett Hendrickson, hopes that the ofrenda alleviates the stigma that comes with alcohol and drug abuse.
I think this is a great way for us to, really pay tribute to the people that we've lost due to addiction and, alcohol abuse.
So Brianna, I don't know if it's just me, but every single time I think fall is here to stay, it begins to heat up again.
I know. It doesn't seem like it'll ever be sweater weather, like anytime soon. With November coming up next week, maybe we'll see some cooler temperatures?
Well, our Sean Dolan has this week's forecast. Sean, how's the weather looking? Will the hot heat continue?
Weather forecast after the break.
A news tip or story idea? Call the KVR News Tip Line, 475-8181.
We're going back up to the mid-80s this week. It was mostly cloudy today with the sun poking out a few times throughout the day. We had a high of 85 degrees and it looks like it's going to get down to about 63 degrees tonight. We're going to get a little more sun tomorrow with some clouds in the sky, still getting up to about 86 degrees and with a low of 63. Middle of the week will be treated to a light breeze in the morning and getting to the middle of the 80s by the afternoon with a high of around 85 degrees and by nighttime going down to 64. Later on in the week, Thursday and Friday looks like promising weather with both days hitting a sunny 86 degrees. It's going to cool down to 64 degrees at night, giving us a little bit of a break from that warm Texas fall we all know and love. We're going to round out this week of good weather with a great weekend with a high of 85 and a low of 64 on Saturday. We'll have a sunny Sunday reaching to another beautiful 85-degree day, getting down to about 65 degrees. Enjoy yet another week of great weather, Longhorns. Live in the Weather Center, Sean Dolan.
Thanks, Sean. College Press Box Elena Vieira will be in the studio to talk Longhorn sports after the break. Stay tuned.
Now, KVR News at 9 Sports.
Texas football traveled to Manhattan over the weekend and suffered a fourth loss on the season to the Kansas State Wildcats. It's 24-21. The only positive things coming away from the Longhorns' loss was yet another 100-plus yard game for Deonta Foreman and Kevin Duvernay's 80-yard touchdown in the second quarter. TSTV's Mark Skoll Jr. was able to catch up with Duvernay and reports that the freshman wide receiver has a bright future at Texas.
Texas freshman wide receiver Devin Duvernay is all about speed.
At a young age, I always beat everyone when I was running.
And he says he'll take down the competition, no matter the circumstance.
Yeah, flip-flops, barefoot, shoes, it's whatever. I'll win.
The speedy receiver wasn't even supposed to be at Texas. He was supposed to be playing in Waco for the Baylor Bears. But when Baylor dismissed head coach Art Briles after the school's sex assault scandal, Duvernay needed to make a quick decision to find a new home.
It was difficult because, we kind of had our mind set on where we were going and where we wanted to go, and then all of it, just being cut and just trying to find somewhere else.
Somewhere else was Texas. While the transition to Texas hasn't been as smooth as it could be, Duvernay's quickly leaving his mark in Sterling Gilbert's fast-paced offense.
It's been great. I transitioned well, even though I came here late, but got to talk to Sterling. Felt like, trying to turn this program around, and the offense was, I was interested in that, so that was a big part.
He's a great kid. He's high character. He's intelligent. He has every intangible you would want in a recruit. He's being productive right now. We're excited about him.
While Gilbert is excited about having another speedy deep threat on offense, Duvernay says he's excited about the direction Texas is going.
The future's, just bright here, so I feel like I could come join and help out.
But no matter what, win or lose, Duvernay will always have a competitive mindset.
I don't think anyone can cover me.
Mark Skoll Jr., College Press Box.
With the Longhorns lost in Manhattan, Texas is now 3-4 on the season and 1-3 in the Big 12 play. What does the team need to improve on to finish the season above 500?
Honestly, the team just needs to be more consistent all across the board, and they need to start playing both halves of the game, not just coming out strong in the beginning or defense picking it up late in the game. They're going to have to play both halves and just a complete solid game.
The Longhorns will face Baylor at DKR Stadium this weekend. What are the strengths that Charlie Strong and the rest of the program need to focus on in order to get the win over the Bears?
Honestly, we just need to go back to our fundamentals of defense like we did in the Iowa State game, that we had solid defense with players being in position and people were just making the tackles that they needed to make. It was great. We also need to be disciplined on both offense and defense. And other than that, I think that the Longhorns are in pretty good shape.
All right, thanks for joining us, Elena. And we'll have your entertainment news after the break.
Have a news tip or story idea? Call the KVR News Tip Line, 475-8181.
Welcome back. The Formula One U.S. Grand Prix took Austin by the wheel this past weekend, pulling crowds for racing cars and huge musical performances. Lewis Hamilton, driving for the Mercedes-AMG Petronas team, marked his 50th career win after his success at the Austin race. Taylor Swift greeted roaring crowds Saturday night, performing for her first and only time in 2016. Sunday night, R&B star Usher stole our hearts, backed by neo-soul artist The Roots. Bob Dylan remained silent after winning the Nobel Prize in Literature. Some Academy members and fans are questioning his silence, calling him impolite and arrogant. Dylan exhibited aversion to the media in the past and recently took down a post on his website concerning the Nobel Prize. During a concert at Coachella, he sang a version of Frank Sinatra's Why Try and Change Me Now, perhaps as an acknowledgement of the prize and a statement concerning his rejection of the media. Donald Glover, the Grammy-nominated rapper turned actor, will play Lando Calrissian in the upcoming Han Solo film. According to a press release, the untitled film will depict Lando in his formative years as a scoundrel on the rise in the galaxy's underworld. The movie will take the big screen in 2018. Well, that's it for your entertainment news. Back to you, Gina and Brianna.
Thanks, Claudia, and thank you for tuning in.
For updates throughout the week, you can follow us on Twitter at KVR News. I'm Brianna Rodriguez.
And I'm Gina Chung. Stay tuned for College Press Box up next on Texas Student Television. Have a great night.